Let's do the UFL show. I want to talk about the power rankings because at the top, there's no change, but through the middle, we can see some separation. And I want to talk about my MVP rankings ahead of the second half of the UFL season. But first, let's talk to Michigan Panthers safety Kai Nacua about his outstanding start to the season and his famous brother Puka. I'm pleased to be joined by Michigan Panthers safety Kai Nacua. Kai, how are you doing?
Great. How you doing, RJ?
I'm good, brother. I understand. Get off the top here. You became a new daddy in December?
Yes, sir. December 7th, second boy.
Oh, my goodness. Pearl Harbor Day. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. Second boy. So you're not a new daddy.
Second boy.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. First
So
one, the oldest is 4, and then the newest is 4 months.
Oh, I love that. So you out there, you got to hit people because you got to go feed people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
for
I love
sure.
that.
You
All
already
right.
know how it is.
So it's interesting because I'm talking about you being in safety. I'm talking about hitting people. But one of the reasons I wanted to speak with you is 3 interceptions in the last 3 games for the Panthers. And it takes a lot to get a couple of quarterbacks in Devin Gardner and Joel Klatt to acknowledge the safety on the field going, no, I'm not throwing anywhere near that dude. So I'm going to start with that. How does it feel to know that in this league, you have become a dude?
To know that, an offense is, they're looking to see where 21 is on the field. I feel like I'm doing my job. I'm doing my 111th on the field to make sure, and to help the other guys, the corner on my side, the backer on my side, or the nickel, like, hey, they know I'm over here to help you out, but like our job is going to be just a little bit easier. You know what I'm saying? They might look away. And that's what I feel like my job is, and especially at safety, I got to help in the run game. I got to help with the pass game. So can I make my other teammates' job easier? And I feel like I've been able to do that, consecutively throughout the weeks, consistently. And then, there's still a lot I need to work on and improve on. So it's just each week is like, how can I make, my teammates around me, how can I make their job easier?
I love hearing that because it also reminds me that you played quarterback in high school. So I'm going to go ahead and segue right to that. Do you think that playing the position of quarterback has helped you become such an outstanding safety?
I think it definitely helped me, especially going into the collegiate level. I just understood how college quarterbacks and what quarterbacks are looking for, especially looking at a defense and especially looking at secondaries. So anytime I'm out there, I'm already looking at the offensive game plan and seeing what the offense is doing. And I'm already understanding, if we're rotating this way, these quarterbacks are going to go, this way. This is probably where they're going to looking for tendencies, but definitely playing quarterback. And I did all the quarterback camps, in high school. So it's like you were learning from coaches who were teaching like real quarterbacks. Because I did everything in high school, but just learning and listening to how they were trying to teach the quarterbacks, like this is where you need to go with the ball or this is how you need to throw it. That definitely helped me progress in playing safety.
You did everything in high school is another point to raise because I understand that at Liberty and Henderson, your jersey was retired. I think I know the reason as to why, but I would love to hear what it felt like for you to learn that they were going to do it and for what reason as to why.
When I first heard that they were going to retire my jersey, it was just a feeling of, blessings, and, I lost my father right before my senior year of high school. And, the last thing that he had talked to me was, Kai's got to make it. And, I've held that chip on my shoulder ever since. And, coming to learn and find out that they were retiring my jersey, my heart smiled. I didn't feel like I was done yet, but like it was like that's just another milestone for me, and my boys were there to witness it, and then they just hung up. It was almost like a Mount Rushmore for our high school. There's 4 other players that in the other sports, and they just kind of acknowledged us and like, you guys are the first ones to kind of get Liberty rolling, and that was a special moment as well.
First NFL player that Liberty had ever produced. That's
yes, sir. That was the reasoning for retiring the jersey for sure.
And not for nothing, but you came into the league with the Cleveland Browns, same time I believe as Baker Mayfield. I got that right.
No,
And
I was
okay,
2017, so they had just drafted Deshaun Kaiser.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Ooh, Deshaun be on me because Deshaun got my number. So Deshaun gonna hear this, he gonna be on me. But what was it like to transition from BYU to the NFL?
You know, transitioning, especially my rookie year, it was more of really just trying to take in all the information and knowledge that, you know, there was guys in the room that had been there and been, you know, we had Joe Hayden, we had J Mac, just those guys. And it was just kind of watching them, you know, how were they preparing each week and learning, you know, this is how you need to prepare to play very good and play at a high level in the NFL. But the biggest transition was really, you know, the speed of the game. I feel like a lot of guys talk about it because you could be those 300-pound linemen. They're just as fast, you know. It feels like they're moving at a very high speed, and so are we. But I would say that was probably the biggest thing was everyone's, you know, flying around. It's not just one guy's fast, you know, just this receiver. Everyone's about the same speed and running around and, you know, trying to get after it.
Nothing like seeing a dude like Jalen Carter move at the speed that Jalen Carter moves and going, oh no, that man is chasing me. That's unfair for him to be this big and this fast. It also kind of feels unfair that your family is so talented. I'm gonna back that up by just saying, you know, did your daddy ever get around to, damn, all four of y'all can play, or was that something that y'all knew from a very early age?
Definitely from a very early age. And I think that's when he kind of was like, oh, wow, like I got all these boys and they can really play the game, you know? And it wasn't just football. We played everything, you know, basketball, volleyball, and we did club ball with all that stuff. So he really wanted to push us. He did. He pushed us all in all the sports, you know? It wasn't, you know, let's just focus on football. Let's just focus on basketball. Every time it was that season for that sport, we were doing the extra work for that sport. But at the end of the day, I think it helped all of us become athletes. And but it's from that young age, you know, all of us are there's stories that we all talk about. You know, we're in the backyard and it's just dirt back there. And we have our oldest brother. He was
Is
we're
it
probably all in
Samson?
middle. No, our oldest brother is Justin.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he's right now 37, I believe, and so we're all in uh, middle school, and we're in the back trying to tackle this guy who's already in high school, you know. And our dads were with pads on, you know, the old Oklahoma drills. We're laying down, and he's like, "All right, go," and we're over there trying to hit him. So he made sure we were all ready.
You know, it's fascinating to hear these sorts of stories because you see the athleticism throughout the family as people get older. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna just point this out. Do you remind people, or more importantly, do you remind Puka, yo, dog, I got a faster 40 than you?
Oh, for sure. He knows that. Yeah. I'm glad because the brother that's right after or right before Puka, he ran a faster 40 than me. So everyone was like, dang, you're gonna be the slowest one. And then Puka ran his. I was like, there we go. I was like, it ain't me.
And not for nothing, Kai, but 449 is moving, dog. Like, how
Hey,
you gonna call that slow?
you can't call it slow.
Well, you got to see your little brother come of age in the NFL, right? Have an outstanding rookie season. What was it like for you to see the Puka mania that was following him with the kind of success that he was having?
Oh man, it was amazing. Seeing him go throughout the year and just progress as a person too. And that I was I wasn't amazed by what he was doing on the field because I already knew that. You know, I watched from since he was a kid, you know, and all of us brothers, we can, you know, we could say we helped build that. You know, he was the younger one and we made sure we made him tough. But watching him speak in interviews too, just watching how, you know, how grown up he looked at such a young age. And you don't really see that, you know, a lot. But the way he addressed, you know, the media and the way he, you know, talked about what was going on with the teams, it was just amazing to see. And then for me is just I couldn't even imagine what our father would be thinking. You know, it was every time I went to the games, the home games, I was just sit there quietly. You know, people are cheering, and I'm just like, man, like I can't imagine, you know, what he would be feeling right now because all his hard work, you know, it's paid off.
I speak for myself, dog. I'm a crier. I
Yeah.
see all that coming out of my progeny. I'm probably gonna come apart, you know.
Oh, for sure. I was
So
definitely I was definitely at those games holding back tears. You know, And I'm over there like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, you know, and it can't be showing people, you know, the emotion that was out there, but it was a blessing.
Nah, bump that, dog. Show all that emotion. I'm here for it. That's kind of what I do, right? Is
Yeah.
be energetic and be emotional about this game because we love it so much. I did want to ask you this question. It dawned on me, I'm a college football guy, right? That you and Cole Hikatini were both up for college football player Polynesian of the year in 2016. Did y'all know this?
I actually didn't know that.
Okay.
You're the first to tell me that.
Yeah. So like, and he's your teammate, right? And
Yeah.
playing tight end. So do y'all get to go one-on-one with each other? What's that like? Because he's catching passes from Lamar Jackson in college.
No, we get those moments I want to say every practice. There's a moment where he's soloed up, and I'm like, I'm the strong safety, so I got to go and take this guy. So we're gonna give each other the best work we can and the best looks that we can, because Saturday or Sunday or whatever day we're playing, we got to make sure we're on top of our game.
It is definitely a challenge because y'all don't get a bye week, right? You're going 10 straight into the playoffs to get there. One of the things that I thought was more interesting about this game is nobody's ever feels really out of it because of the way that the game is structured with the 4th and 12 plays that you can go from the 28-yard line to the 2-point conversions, or we don't have 2-point conversions, 2-point plays, 3-point plays. But another thing that I thought was interesting is the kickers be money in this league, dog. And you got one of them in Jake Bates. So I got to tell you, when you saw that dude hit from 66 or 64, what were you thinking?
In my head, I was like, man, this is far. Especially that first game. We were up, and then we gave up a couple plays on defense, and I'm like, man, we let them back in this. Offense is marching. And I'm like, we're at the 50. I'm like, man, this ain't looking good, guys. And then everyone's like, no, like I don't know if some of the guys already knew, but they might have known that Jake had a leg like that, So they're telling me, hey man, he's good. We gonna make this. And I'm like, I get up off the bench. I'm like, man, y'all sure? See the ball snap and just drilled it. And I literally just dropped my helmet. I was like, no way, like, because he had it looked like another 10 yards. That very first one, I was like, oh, we got a dude over here. We're gonna be in games for sure. And in my head, I always think, offense, just get to the 50. You get to the 50, we got 3 at least. So,
and that's such a good mood to have, right? Like, it's not just that he hit it. They call timeout. He nailed that first one. I'm like, all right, damn, that was right down the middle. He went back out there. He hit it again. And I'm going, wait a second. This dude just got out here with 3 wood and we ain't know about it. And then you look around the league and you see that is really all over this league. But for a guy like Jake Bates to have that opportunity, again, y'all play on TV, which is not a small thing. It feels like he's going to bring more attention, not just to himself, but to the Panthers and to the league. So there are folks that might be watching games that otherwise wouldn't. And this is still one of those leagues where it feels like y'all are all right there. You know what I mean? Like you either play in the NFL or you have every opportunity to get to the NFL just based on what the numbers are. So my question around that is, what do you think about the talent in this league?
I think the talent is just as good. I've played on several teams, bounced around to 6 different teams in the NFL, been around a bunch of different talent. And I would say the talent is there in this league. These, like you said, these are guys that, they have been to camps, they've been in the league for X amount of years and they can still play. So we have this opportunity to still show these teams, the NFL teams, like, hey, I know I didn't make the 53 or whatever it may be. I didn't make the 90, but hey, I'm still in shape. I can still play this game at a very high level. And then that's our job, make sure we're putting out great tape and waiting for another opportunity.
My last one for you, I'll let you go. There's this idea that I've been playing with that I wanted to game out. And it is the idea of being a professional football player. And for some people, that just means the NFL, right? For others, it means you will play in the UFL if that's what you need to do. You'll go to the CFL if that's what you need to do. And you will get back to the NFL on a training camp and see what you can do. Given that is your occupation, that is your trade, how do you keep yourself and your mind right about what it is you're doing and how you're going to accomplish your next goal?
For me, it's every week. Every week, I'm like, what is my goal? And obviously, it's to get back to the NFL. But at the same time, it's like, this is a great opportunity. Guys don't get a chance to go to OTAs or camp or mini camps. And it's like, wow, I get 10 weeks to put out, great film. And it's not like, oh, we're just playing 7-on-7 out there. It's like, this is actual football. This is pro football. We're all out here doing the same thing. Everyone's there for the same goal. And that's to win the championship, put out great tape, waiting for another opportunity. So guys, every week, you can feel it on the field. Guys are prepared. They're ready. They're out there trying to win, they're trying to beat me and my squad, and I'm trying to beat them and their squad. So every week it's just preparing the best you can. And then when you get out there on Saturday or Sunday, wherever you may be on the winning side, you may be on the losing side, but guys are out there putting everything they got on the line.
Well, we halfway through the season and y'all are in a playoff position, getting an opportunity to perhaps play for a championship a little bit later on. And that is in big part due to you, dog. Like, you are out there making plays, and I'm having a lot of fun watching how the safeties are coming down, watching how the safeties are rotating. And then every now and again, you put your hands on a ball and you look like a wide receiver. So Kai Nacua, thank you so much for joining us here on the #1 college football show to talk about your experience in the UFL.
Thank you for having me, RJ. Have a good one.
Really great conversation with Kai, who is very warm, very friendly. And I'm sure that his brother is going to take a look at that and be like, dog, why you got to tell everybody that I'm slower than you? To which I'm going, it's documented. There's nothing you can do about that. All right, let's do the power rankings now. And I think this weekend, going into week 6, we're going to see more of the same because we got to see some separation. That's what I was calling it, is separation weekend in the UFL, because all the teams with winning records got wins, and every game was decided by double digits for the first time all year. So number 8, I got the Arlington Renegade. Nothing you can do about a team that is 0-5 going into week 6, but it's remarkable that they have not got a win yet because they've got a really outstanding offense, one of 2 quarterbacks in Luis Perez that have thrown for 1,000 yards through the first 5 games of the season, but they just can't seem to get out of their own way, whether it's clock management or the defense not showing up or the offense not showing up when the defense does. They're going to have to really do a lot over the next 5 weeks to try to get one of those spots in the XFL conference that are currently occupied by 2 4-1 teams. But again, this is a team that won the XFL championship last year after going 4-7 in the regular season. So I wouldn't count them out yet, but it's getting close to time for them. All right, number 7, I have the Memphis Showboats. The Showboats are reeling, and I ain't talking about Bass. Like, they got the win in week 1, and ever since then, they can't find out if they're coming or going, primarily because they can't keep the quarterback upright. They had to put Troy Williams in at quarterback because Case Cook was hurt, and that's because the offensive line kept getting the Case Cook is knocked down. Troy Williams had 248 pass yards, still didn't matter much when they were playing against the Panthers, who just controlled that game from the jump. Carnell Lake's defense the last 3 games has given up an average of 33.3 points per game. That ain't going to get it done in the UFL, specifically in a USFL conference that has an undefeated team at the top. Number 6 on the list, got the Houston Roughnecks. That's a rough loss around their necks. They got the what for and how now from Birmingham Stallions, 32-9. It's one thing for you not to be able to score. It's another thing for you to give up 32, right? And Adrian Martinez, who we'll talk about, just went out there and ran all up and down them. If you are the Roughnecks, you're looking at your defensive line, which you thought was going to be really great, and you're going, what else we got to do here, guys? Reed Sennett also looked pretty good, just didn't get a whole lot of help. Number 5 on the list, I got the DC Defenders. There's no defense for giving up 45, even if your name is Defender. And it's getting close to time for them to act like it if they want to get into the UFL playoffs, because we're talking about a team that has really been on Jordan Ta'amu's arms and legs. And when he has played well, they felt like they've had a shot. This time he didn't play well. 12 of 23 for 101 with 3 INTs. But the thing is, this game was tight until the 4th quarter. And then the Defenders gave up 25 points in the 4th quarter to the St. Louis Battlehawks. It's also a team that still can't run the football no matter who's back there, right? I mean, you're talking about 84 yards on 30 carries. That's 2.8 yards per rush. That ain't going to get it done. So if the Defenders expect to do something, they better make like Thanos and go get that gauntlet before they get snapped to dust. I'm telling you, dog, it's tough out here for DC right now. Number 4 on the list, I got the Michigan Panthers, who dropped in like Shuri from the Royal Talon. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, they know what they're doing. And they did this with the backup quarterback getting the start, EJ Perry putting on injured reserve, which means that he's not going to be available for the rest of the regular season. Danny Etling looked good last week. It looked fine this week, but it's really them being able to control the clock, run the football, get some outstanding play, particularly Kai Nacua, who had his 3rd interception in as many games. in their 35-18 win at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. And they're finally getting something out of their run game. I thought Wes Hills coming into this league was going to be one of the better tailbacks in it, and finally started to look that way. And when they can keep their quarterback clean, they seem to play pretty good football. We know what kind of weapon they have in Jake Bates, who didn't play his best football, right? Had his first misses of the season in their win, but that's still a dude that can hit from 64 and looks good from 70. Number 3 on the list, I got the San Antonio Brahmas, who are a one-loss team. Despite doing everything they can, it seems to not be one. They won 25-15 against Arlington to make themselves really the best team in Texas. John Lovett's really coming into that running back role as the lead guy, 13 rushes for 95 yards in the win. Brahmas also put up 190 rush yards, and they needed to because Quentin Dormady came back and threw 3 INTs in that game, and somehow the Renegades still lost by 10 points. But this was a 15-15 game in the fourth quarter, right? It's just, what are you doing in that last quarter? Because that last quarter in the UFL has been really entertaining. We've seen lots of swings. We've seen teams come from far back because of the rules in such a way that every game needs to be going down to the wire until this weekend, where it just felt like the teams that were better were really separating. And San Antonio is one of those teams in a tie for first place in the XFL conference. Number 2 on the list, I got the St. Louis Battlehawks, who for me, best team in the XFL conference, and they look like that when they went to Audi Field and they beat back the Beer Snake, the Denizens of DC, like they knew what time it was. Like, it's AJ McCarron's team. The first time they actually got to get AJ McCarron out of the game. I know how much he wants to play and how much he really enjoys playing quarterback for St. Louis, but it is also the first team to put up 40 or more this season. I mean, they put up 45 in a game that they didn't need to put up 45 in. They scored 25 in the fourth quarter in a game that was tight. Like, they scored the first 17, and then you get 12 points out of defenders who look like they're going to do something, and then you get 25 straight in the fourth quarter from the best team in the XFL. And I need to tell y'all, home field advantage is real for them. Number 1, because they'll put 30,000 to 40,000 people in the stands. Number 2, if they are the 1 seed in the XFL conference, they're going to host their playoff game, which means they would also host potentially the championship game. So they could generally not have to leave St. Louis for the playoffs at all and receive probably more than 45,000 people in attendance for an opportunity for them to win the inaugural UFL championship. Not bad if you are Anthony Becht, who is coaching his behind off and has a really great football team. And number 1, I have the undefeated 5-0 Birmingham Stallions, who, not unlike my 2008 Dodge Ram, looking hillbilly deluxe Stallions on their giddy up. That team can do whatever it is they seem to want to do. If they want to trade out the quarterback, Matt Corral, Adrian Martinez, is going to work. If they want to come with Carlo Davis and Taco Charlton on that defensive line, it's going to work. I'm not sure that anybody's going to be able to do anything with the Birmingham Stallions, who, believe it or not, continue to get stronger with each passing week. That team knows who it is. Skip Holtz knows what they're capable of. And whatever it is they are drinking, I would like to get some myself, because we're coming up on a full calendar year since the last time anybody has beaten the Birmingham Stallions. And I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all to circle Birmingham versus St. Louis on your calendar for week 7, because that is going to be perhaps a sneak preview of what I think could be the championship game in the inaugural season of the UFL. All right, let's go from the UFL power rankings to my MVP rankings. And sometimes I got 5 players on this list. Sometimes I got 3. This is one of those weeks where I have 3. So let's start with number 3 and work up. Number 3, I got Luis Perez, who is the quarterback on a winless team, but he's one of the most prolific quarterbacks in the entire league on a winless team. One of 2 quarterbacks in the entire league to throw for over 1,000 yards so far this season. And he continues to put up numbers, right? We're talking 270, we're talking 250, 290. He's a great player, and he continues to find ways to get his guys the football, and they continue to show up for him. It's just, can they keep other teams from scoring and give them an opportunity? So if the defense ever gets on a good foot with the offense, I expect Arlington Renegades perhaps could make a run, but we'll see. Number 2 on the list, I have AJ McCarron, who is the best quarterback in the XFL, full stop, right? It's not close. And it's not close because it's been his team from the jump. Like, along with Jordan Tamu, he's really the only guy in that conference who's been able to start every game, and everybody looks at him as the leader in every game they play. Also leads the league in completion percentage with 68.5, also leads the league in passing TDs with 10. They are coming into their own with Jacob Saylor back there. He looked pretty good. Mateo Durant a couple weeks ago Hakeem Butler is becoming the guy that I thought he was always going to be, right? Iowa State, I remember that dude being 6'6", 260 pounds, playing wide receiver. I'm like, dog, that dude seems like he's tailor-made for the NFL. You can't do nothing with him. He's just going to post up. That's what he was doing. He had an 80-yard bomb for a TD, 147 receiving yards, and 6 catches. If he has a couple of more games like that, maybe he makes this MVP list. And then number 1, I got Adrian Martinez. And my thought is that's an NFL quarterback. That's what that is. That's an NFL quarterback back there. He leads the league in rushing, and he started 2 games. We're talking about 300 yards rushing, and he ain't had that many carries. He's just had enough to get 11.6 yards per rush, and he's got half as many carries as the guy in second place, who's John Lovett, who has 195 rush yards. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's carried the ball 26 times for 302 yards, another guy that's carried the ball 51 times for 195 yards. I get that one of those is running back, get one of those quarterback, but if you've seen Adrian Martinez against anybody's defense, you're not really going to catch him. And that 4.5 speed is showing up. And when he can operate from the pocket, there's nothing that offense can't do. And he's a big reason as to why. I don't know that Skip Holtz is going to not start Matt Corral, because one of the things he does want to do is give these guys opportunities to get tape for the NFL. And Matt Corral was a 3rd-round pick out of Ole Miss, so he can spin it too. But I think as we get closer and closer to playing for the championship, or playing for the playoffs, or playing for clinching, Adrian Martinez might very well be the guy that Skip Holtz chooses to go with, not unlike he did with Alex Magoo last year, who ended up being the USFL's MVP. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of the #1 college football show's UFL show. Our #1 college football leads in screening are Jack Coakley and Torrin Westfall. They make us better in the film room. Additional support from Kiara Santana and Jim Cunningham put the special in our special teams. Producer Javion Duncan makes sure the recruits and the rivals see the cake we bake. Technical director Gabe Sabelson's in the signal. Senior producer Catherine Cordati sees the entire field from the booth. Lead producer Tyler Wojak calls the plays from the sideline. The play snaps on my clap. We're back live next Tuesday to talk all things college football. Until then, stay low, keep those feet driving. Deuces.